You open your back door to enjoy the garden, and that's when you see it. A wasp nest the size of a grapefruit hanging from your eaves. Or maybe you've just been stung reaching for something in the garage. Either way, wasps have a way of turning a normal day into a genuinely stressful situation fast. And when it gets bad enough, a wasp problem can make you afraid to use your own backyard, which is exactly why it's worth handling it the right way. Here's the problem. Most people's instinct when they see a wasp nest is to grab a can of spray, walk straight up to it, and let it rip. And that instinct gets people hurt every single year. Wasps are not bees. They don't die after they sting you. One wasp can sting you multiple times, and when a nest feels threatened, dozens of them can respond within seconds. The wrong move at the wrong moment can turn a small problem into a medical emergency. But here's what most people don't know. The majority of wasp problems around a home can be handled safely without professional help, as long as you understand a few key things: what kind of wasp you're dealing with, where the nest is, what time of day to act, and what not to do before you do anything else. We're going through 5 things in this video: finding the nest, avoiding the mistakes that make things dangerous, how to actually remove a nest safely, natural ways to keep wasps from coming back, and how to know when the situation is beyond DIY. By the end of this, you'll have a clear plan. Let's start with the step most people skip entirely. Finding the nest first is not optional. It's the whole game. A lot of people see wasps flying around their deck or near a window and immediately start spraying anything that looks suspicious. That's backwards. If you don't know where the nest is, you can't solve the problem. You're just agitating wasps without addressing the source. And agitated wasps without a clear target become your problem very fast. So before you buy anything or do anything, spend a few minutes watching. Wasps are creatures of habit. They fly in predictable paths back and forth between their nest and wherever they're foraging. Stand at a safe distance, at least 10 to 15 feet, and watch where the wasps are traveling. Follow the line of flight. They'll lead you straight to the nest. Common nest locations include roof eaves and overhangs, inside wall voids. You'll notice wasps going in and out of a small gap in siding or brickwork, underneath decks, inside garden sheds, in dense shrubs, and underground. That last one matters because underground wasp nests, usually yellow jackets, are a completely different situation from an exposed paper nest under an eave. The removal method, the risk level, and the protective gear needed are all different. And here's something that catches a lot of people off guard. By late summer, a yellow jacket nest can contain thousands of wasps. What looked like a minor problem in June can be a serious one by August. Here's something that surprises a lot of homeowners. A single property can have more than one nest. If you're seeing wasps in 2 different areas that don't seem connected, take the time to track both before you act on either. Treating one nest while another is active nearby means you'll still have a wasp problem, and possibly a more aggressive one, after you think you've solved it. Once you know exactly where the nest is, what it looks like, and approximately how large it is, you're ready to make a plan. But before you do anything physical, there's a set of mistakes you absolutely need to avoid, and one of them is so common it's almost reflexive. The most dangerous thing about wasps isn't the nest, it's what people do when they panic. The number one mistake is spraying a wasp nest during the day with a standard household insect spray and then standing nearby to watch what happens. Daytime is when wasps are most active. The nest is full. Guard wasps are alert. The moment you introduce a threat, the colony mobilizes, and you are standing right there. This scenario causes the majority of wasp stings that end up requiring medical attention. The second mistake is using water. A lot of people think flooding a nest, especially a ground nest, is a safe approach. It isn't. Water doesn't kill wasps quickly, and it destroys the structure of the nest in a way that scatters hundreds of wasps outward, into your yard, toward whatever is nearby, including you. Third, never swat at a wasp near a nest. This sounds obvious until you're standing outside and one lands near you. Swatting triggers a threat response that releases alarm pheromones, chemical signals that tell other wasps in the area that there's danger. You can go from 1 or 2 wasps to 20 in under a minute. Fourth, don't seal the entry point of a nest inside a wall without treating it first. A homeowner once noticed wasps going in and out of a gap behind his garage siding and, thinking he was being clever, sealed it with expanding foam while the wasps were out foraging. The wasps that were still inside chewed through the interior wall to find another exit, which turned out to be inside the garage. That's a situation that gets dangerous very quickly in an enclosed space. And fifth, don't assume protective clothing is optional. Even a small nest can produce a fast, coordinated response. A long-sleeved shirt and jeans are not protection. If you're going to attempt removal yourself, treat it seriously. Now that you know what not to do, here's something worth keeping in mind before you go any further. One of the most common removal mistakes, something people do thinking it's perfectly safe, can turn a calm nest into a full swarm within seconds. We'll cover exactly what that is and how to avoid it in the next section. The safest time to remove a wasp nest yourself is at night, specifically late at night between 10 p.m. and pre-dawn. This is not negotiable. At night, wasps are back in the nest, their body temperature drops, their activity level drops, and their response time is significantly slower. You are dealing with a fraction of the aggression you'd face at 2 in the afternoon. Before you go out there, get your gear ready. You want a long-sleeved shirt and long pants, gloves, ideally thick ones, closed-toe shoes, and something to protect your face and neck. A beekeeper's veil is ideal if you have access to one. A hooded jacket, worn zipped up, is a reasonable substitute. The goal is to leave no exposed skin. Use a wasp and hornet spray that specifically says it shoots a stream or jet, not a mist. These sprays can reach 10 to 20 feet, which means you don't need to be directly underneath the nest to apply them. This distance matters. For an exposed nest under an eave or on a structure, stand slightly to the side, not directly underneath, and spray directly into the nest opening, which is usually at the bottom of the paper structure. Apply for the full duration the product directions recommend, then leave. Do not stand and watch. Walk away, go inside, and wait until the following evening before you check to see if there's still activity. If the nest is inside a wall void, spray into the entry point and seal the gap only after you've confirmed, over 2 to 3 nights, that there is no more activity. Then seal it permanently to prevent another colony from moving into the same space the following season. For ground nests, the approach is the same. Treat at night, spray directly into the opening, and do not disturb the surrounding soil. Mark the area with something visible so nobody steps near it the following day. Ground nests can be deep, and treatment sometimes needs to be repeated. One practical tip: after a successful treatment, leave the nest in place for at least a week before removing it physically. Returning wasps from outside the nest will investigate it and encounter residual insecticide. Removing it too early eliminates that secondary effect. If the nest is small, roughly golf ball size or smaller, and in an accessible location, this is well within DIY range for most people. If it's larger than a softball, in a confined space, or underground with heavy traffic, read the next section before you decide to go it alone. Once you've dealt with an active nest, the next step is making sure you're not creating conditions that invite another one. Wasps build nests in the same general areas, year after year. They're attracted to locations that offer structural shelter, proximity to food sources, and protection from wind and rain. If you've had a nest under the same eave 2 years in a row, that's not coincidence. That's a location they've identified as suitable. The most effective natural deterrent is a fake nest. Wasps are territorial and won't build near an existing colony. A commercial decoy nest, or even a brown paper bag filled loosely and hung in the area, mimics the shape of a wasp nest well enough to discourage new construction. Hang one near areas where you've had nests before at the start of spring, before queens start scouting for build sites. Peppermint oil is one of the more legitimate home remedies for wasps. Mix several drops with water in a spray bottle and apply it around eaves, under deck boards, along window frames, and anywhere you've seen wasps investigating. Reapply every week or two, especially after rain. Wasps genuinely avoid it. There's reasonable evidence behind this one, not just anecdote. Remove food sources. Open compost bins, uncovered trash cans, fallen fruit from trees, and outdoor pet food are all attractive to wasps. If you're eating outside and a wasp finds your food or drinks, others will follow. Keep drinks covered, Clean up food scraps promptly, and make sure your bins have tight-fitting lids. Seal potential nesting sites before spring arrives. Walk your property in late winter or early March and look for gaps in siding, cracks in eaves, openings around utility lines entering the house, and any hollow structures in your yard. Seal them with caulk or appropriate filler before queens emerge and start scouting. That 1 hour of prevention in March can save you a significant problem in July. There are situations where DIY removal is the wrong call, and being honest with yourself about that is part of handling this safely. Call a professional if the nest is inside a wall cavity or ceiling void and you can't see it, only access points. Treating a nest you can't see means you can't confirm coverage, and a partially treated nest with surviving wasps in a confined space is a serious problem. Call a professional if the nest is larger than a basketball. Large nests, particularly yellow jacket nests, which can contain thousands of individuals, can produce a defensive response that overwhelms even well-protected DIY treatment. The risk-to-reward calculation changes significantly at that size. Call a professional if anyone in your household has a known allergy to wasp stings. This is not the situation to experiment with DIY removal. The risk of accidental stinging during treatment, however small, is not worth it when anaphylaxis is a possibility. Call a professional if the nest is in a location that makes safe treatment physically impossible, high roof lines, inside attic spaces you can't safely navigate at night, or embedded in ground that's near where children or pets regularly play. And call a professional if you've already attempted treatment and the nest is still active. A disturbed colony that's been partially treated can be more aggressive than one that hasn't been touched. At that point, let someone with full protective gear and commercial-grade treatment handle it. Pest control companies deal with wasp nests routinely, and the cost of professional removal is almost always far less than people expect, particularly compared to a trip to urgent care. Most wasp problems around a home are completely manageable with the right information, the right timing, and a level head. The wasps themselves aren't out to get you. They're protecting a nest, and as long as you're not standing between them and it, they're largely indifferent to your presence. Understanding that changes how you approach the whole situation. Find the nest before you do anything. Avoid the mistakes that trigger an aggressive response. If you're treating it yourself, do it at night with the right product and the right protective gear. Use prevention to make sure they don't come back, and know where the line is between a DIY job and a professional one. If you're dealing with a wasp problem right now, drop a comment and tell us what you're working with, where the nest is, how big it looks, what you've already tried. We read the comments, and your situation might help someone else who's dealing with the same thing. And if this video gave you a clear plan for handling it, subscribe. We cover practical home and pest solutions like this every week because most problems around the house are easier to solve than they look, as long as you know what you're doing.